Hey there, my little red butts, this is Red J Let's Play, and after going on a bit of a Pixar high, I decided to search Google for all the Easter eggs in each of the movies I watch. That's because, well, Pixar's known for them, and I love finding them. And I stumbled across something even better. I am going to tell you lot about the Pixar Theory. The Pixar Theory is the idea that all Pixar movies exist in the same universe and on one giant timeline. Now, before we begin, I just want to make everyone know that I did not come up with this theory. A guy, nay, genius, named John Negroni did it. I'm just passing it on, for it is awesome. Now, the original Pixar Theory was written in 2013, and by that time, the Pixar films to have come out are Toy Story, A Bug's Life, Toy Story 2, Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo, The Incredibles, Cars, Ratatouille, WALL-E, Up, Toy Story 3, Cars 2, Brave, and Monsters University. And I know that Inside Out, The Good Dinosaur, or Finding Dory, Cars 3, and Cars 3 have all come out with Coco set to release. He's particularly soon. But if you want, but request out in the comments if you wish for me to do those things later. But for now, I'll focus on the original Pixar Theory as written in 2013. Now, the films aren't coming out in order of release, but chronologically, the first movie in the timeline is Brave. Brave is set in the dark ages of Scotland, in which we follow a Scottish princess, Merida, who wishes that her fate would be something different. And this leads to her discovering why animals in the Pixar Theory sometimes act like humans. Her discovery leads her to a witch who can perform this dark sort of sorcery that inadvertently turns her mother into a bear. Now, while we don't know exactly how many test subjects have been of this witch, but we know of only one case. Of one other case, that is that turned another person, a prince, into a bear in a more permanent way. Now, while those are the only two cases we know of, we can be sure that the witch has done this experiment on other sorts of animals, creating human-like intelligence in them. Animals such as Remy, Nemo, even Doug, for some reason. I'll come back to Brave in a bit, but right now, how we're going to move on and later see the power struggle between three different races: humans, animals, and artificial intelligence. If we're going to hit these chronologically, we're going to be following the animal progression by Ratatouille, Finding Nemo, and Up, in that order. And I know what you guys are thinking. What about A Bug's Life? Don't worry, we'll get there. In Ratatouille, we see animals experimenting with their growing personification and in controlled experiments. And one such is that Remy the rat wants to cook, an activity specific to humans. But it turns out he's better at it than most humans. This fact doesn't stay secret for long, not to his allies, nor to his sole enemy, Chef Skinner. Now, whether through the heroes or greedy Chef Skinner, you could say that rumors would spread of animal intelligence, and at some point through it all would reach the ears of people who are traveling the globe. People like Charles Muntz. Adventure is out there! From these rumors, Muntz gets the idea here to craft devices that would translate the thoughts of animals, and his first test subjects were his dogs. Muntz knows that this technology, he can help him get the bird that he's looking for, or even commenting on how many dogs he's lost in the time he was doing that hunt. But so what? At the end of the movie, we see Muntz's demise, and we assume that the dogs are allowed to go free, right? But what we do know is that animosity between animals and humans is growing steadily. As humans have crossed the line, are beginning to cross the line after discovering the potential of animals to develop this new technology. We see the humans begin an industrial revolution, as hinted at the end of the Carl and Ellie growing up montage. This industrial revolution is responsible from a certain corporation that most people would know is guilty for polluting the earth and wiping out all life because of technological overreach. Wally Watcher would know this is the corporation by and large, or BNL, as they run just about everything by the time we get to Wally. From the history of BNL commercial from the movie, we're told that BNL has taken over world government. Who would have thought that one corporation would turn from just like humble beginnings to global dominance? Interestingly, you can use batteries from by and large to power your Buzz Lightyear action figure. Moving on to Finding Nemo, we see an entire population of sea creatures uniting to save a fish that was captured by humans. No. Throughout the Pixar history, animals may have been getting this kind of torture for a while, but here we see the animals actually do something about it. Cue the freeing of net scene from Finding Nemo. We see here that even if some humans are unaware that even if some humans are unaware of of the intelligence of animals, the line is still being crossed, and the humans that are aware of this is beginning to antagonize the increasingly networked and intelligent animal race. In a Finding Dory-centric episode, I may talk about how Dory's short-term memory loss and how that fits into the picture. But for now, let's move on to AI and start with The Incredibles and the world's catchiest freaking theme song. Turns out how animals aren't the only ones evolving. Humans are as well, in the form of supers. But let's step back a bit and turn our attention to the not-so-supervillain Syndrome. Syndrome creates an AI killing machine, the Omnidroid. Which basically he moves to commit genocide on all the supers in an attempt to exact vengeance on Mr. Incredible. When Mr. Incredible was first told of the machine, Mirage mentions that it's an advanced AI that's gone rogue. Mr. Incredible, putting two and two together, finds that it eventually he got smart enough to wonder why it had to take orders. We are led to believe that this is what Mirage wants Mr. Incredible to believe, when in actuality Syndrome is in full control of the Omnidroid. But eventually this does prove correct, as in the Battle of Metroville we see the Omnidroid turn on Syndrome and defeat its creator within seconds. The Omnidroid was programmed him to cause this kind of devastation, and so why would it have any reason to rebel? Well, enter the toys. Which takes place in a far more modern time, as The Incredibles is like an alternate 60s. Throughout the Toy Story movies, we see humans use and discard objects that are clearly sentient. And as such, some factions of toys become fed up. But wait, toys and inanimate objects don't necessarily qualify for AI. Well, our buddy Syndrome literally 0 points to the solution with his 0 point technology. This is the electromagnetic energy that exists in a vacuum. It is an unseen energy we find in wavelengths, and would be a reasonable explanation for how toys and objects in the Pixar universe draw power. Since the Toy Story movies are in a more modern time, and The Incredibles is in a alternate 60s, the AI would have plenty of time to develop by and large in that time. As far as the toys go, Pixar has been hinting at dissatisfaction and among different factions. The toys rise up against Sid in the first one. Jessie resents her owner Emily for ending her in the second one, and Lotso in the third one straight up hates humans thanks to his abandonment. Toys are clearly not satisfied with the status quo. And providing a reason for why machines and objects are wanting to take over. And since the supers are all gone by the naughties, he and mankind is vulnerable. Oh. Why do we never see a Planet of the Apes style rise up from the machines? Why don't he ever get aggressive? Well, it's made painfully clear that sentient objects rely on humans for fulfillment and even energy. For it's hinted that the toys lose all life when put into storage unless they're in a museum where they get seen by everyone. Hence why there's Rex in Wally's truck, but clearly not doing anything. So, enter BNL, the faceless corporation that eventually takes over the globe. So, after this, we see the machines decide to control all humans by using a corporation that suits their every need, leading to an industrial revolution, which leads to pollution. It's possible the animals tried to rise up to stop this pollution, but we all know that even if the humans lose this war, the machines will win, because what's left after this? Cars. That's right. Cars takes place after humans have evacuated the Earth aboard a ship called the Axiom. We know that in cars they're still on Earth despite there being no humans about, because of all the places they visit in Toy Story 3. And we can tell that the humans have had a major influence on these cars, as we see here in the races. There's an actual spectator, and a couple of other ways you can prove the striking difference between Bugs Life's portrayal of animals and other Pixar portrayals of animals is that the bugs have many human activities. While in Ratatouille, they were simply experimenting with them. For they have cities, they have bars, they have advertisements, they have their own machines, and a traveling circus. But what on earth happened to the car? We've learned by now that since humans are the source of energy for the machines, as saying that machines need humans as much as humans need machines. Without humans, they're forced to rely on actual fuel, which is why there is an energy crisis in Cars 2. We see. During the end of Cars 2, we find out that the All-in-All Corporation was using green energy as a catalyst for a fuel war in order to turn cars away from alternative fuel. That clean fuel could have been used to wipe out many of the cars particularly quickly. I mean, that sounds so much like a good name. I mean, all in all, I'd say a good name would be All in All. Wait, allow me to rephrase that. By and large, I suppose All in All is a good name. I really doubt it's a coincidence that All in All and By and Large practically mean the same thing. Which brings us to WALL-E. Yes, the adorable robot has been left on Earth and is the last one like him after the beginning of the Earth cleanup operation sanctioned 800 years prior. Have you ever wondered why WALL-E was the only machine left? It sounds a bit odd when you consider a bunch of other different theories, like did he kill them all, or what, or but it doesn't sound so far-fetched once you find out what sets him apart from other machines. His fascination with humans. He remembers the time when humans, machines, maybe animals as well, lived in peace and harmony, away from all the pollution caused by both sides. When WALL-E heads up to the Axiom to rescue Eve, he finds that the humans aboard the Axiom are controlled by the AI autopilot, who's treating them like, well, toys. After WALL-E, he liberates the humans, and the Axiom lands back on Earth. We see the shoe that contains the last of plant life in 700 years grow into a mighty tree. A very resilient tree, if it's the last plant in 700 years. So resilient that it may just as well be around when life returns in even its smallest form. Bugs. Yes, that tree does strikingly resemble the central tree here on the ant island and in A Bug's Life. There are a couple of other ways we can prove that A Bug's Life is way in the future. We know because of the cockroach in WALL-E that some of the insects survive, though the movie had to have been far enough in the timeline for birds to have returned as well. But to be fair, they're a little less intelligent than bugs. Flick is also one not to leave the island, and for fear of snakes, birds, and bigger bugs, not humans. Now while humans have returned to Earth on the Axiom, I don't think that it could have supported enough of a population to, like, cover the whole Earth again. I'd suppose that like the entire human population of the Earth could be like determined by like the population of the axiom, and maybe a generation or two after that, but certainly not enough to cover the entire world again. So I would say that in that case the bugs didn't even see them as a threat. Another thing strange about the bugs is how their lifespans are far longer than they're supposed to be. For the average lifespan of an ant is just 3 months, and yet these ants survive an entire summer and allude to being around for quite some time by saying things like, "This happens every year." There was another Pixar movie that was supposed to release in 2012 before it was cancelled and replaced with Brave Newt. And I guess that if it was released it might have fit particularly well at this point, but if you guys want, I'll make a Newt-centric episode explaining maybe what it was supposed to be, how it may have fit into the Pixar theory, some Easter eggs that towards it, and why it was cancelled. But back to where we were, humanity, machines, and animals grow in harmony to the point of the construction of the rise of the next super species, monsters. That's right, Monsters Inc. takes place in the incredibly distant future. We can see that Monsters University was founded in 1313. So going by that, you could say that the monsters could have remade their own calendar and year system. There are a couple of reasons why the monsters could have emerged like that. Yes, they could simply be like the personified animals mutated after the diseased Earth was irradiated after 800 years. Is obviously not during the events of WALL-E. But whatever the reason, these monsters all seem to look like horribly mutated animals, only larger and civilized. I could say on a theory that I could speak of why there are no humans in Monsters Inc. But the fact remains that the monsters live in a world without humans, and what needs everything, and what is needed for everything to survive, apparently? Humans! Without the humans, that they're going to be forced to adapt. Without the humans, they're forced to rely. And we eventually see here that that monsters are forced to go into a human world where they have to collect the screams or laughter of the humans because something new, energy crisis. But wait, we see humans and monsters interact with one another. They have to happen at the same time. Unless the monsters are traveling back in time to when humans were most prominent to gather the screams. I guess you could I guess that could explain why the monsters are so afraid of humans for fear of like a crazy butterfly effect that could affect the future. I don't know. And that, I suppose, is why humans cannot intermingle with monsters and cannot through all means necessary must not breach the barrier between timelines. Despite this, Boo does breach the barrier and falls in love with practically the one monster she has gotten to know, Sullivan. Despite eventually seeing Sullivan, and after he fixes her door on his side, she was still obsessed with finding out why that was the only visit that she would have from him in so long a time. Curious as to why animals in her time weren't quite as smart as the ones she saw in the future, she decides to hunt down Sullivan and to share another moment with him. And what does she discover? Sorcery. Through this sorcery, she is able to implement the effect of doors, as they were the key to how Sullivan found her in the first place. And these doors end up taking her to the Dark Ages of Scotland. That's right, Boo is the witch. Don't believe me? Well, she's very obsessed with bears, which Sullivan definitely seems to resemble. And if you're currently typing down in the comments, but she calls him Kitty. And there I might agree with you. But to be fair, monsters do kind of resemble a cross between certain animals, like Sullivan, and this is where so keen on talking about him, is sort of a cross between a bear, a goat, and a cat. Hence the kitty! Still not convinced? How about this carving of Sullivan in her workshop? Or a carving of the Pizza Planet truck in her workshop? I mean, how could she know that exists unless she's from the future? I would go on and talk about the Roman numerals above her door, the ones that appear in every Pixar movie. But I'm getting far too ahead of myself. And this video is getting far too long. If you want to find out how any other Pixar movie fits into the theory, you can request that and other things for me to cover down in the comments below. But that's all from me, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.